Now, a UN-backed mission aimed at curbing gang violence in Haiti has come to an end without achieving its aims. Those on the ground were Kenyan police officers in place since 2024, but their operations were significantly stymied by a lack of funding and equipment. France 24's Juliette Brown tells us more.
The last Kenyan police officers deployed to Haiti as part of a multinational security support mission have left the country. Of the 2,500 officers planned in the UN-approved mission, only around half that number were deployed. Underfunded and under-equipped, it struggled to curb gang violence, which continues to plague the country. Last year, the United Nations Security Council voted to convert the security support mission to a more robust gang suppression force.
We're at a critical early phase of establishing the GSF. The objective is clear: to degrade the operational capacity of gangs to a level that Haitian institutions can sustainably manage, thereby creating the time and space necessary for the state to reassert its authority.
So far, 400 Chadians have been deployed as part of the new gang suppression force, which should eventually be comprised of 5,500 police and soldiers, working to help curb the gang violence which has plagued the country, with devastating consequences on the local population.
As the Council is aware, almost 1.5 million people are internally displaced, mostly because of violence, and an estimated 6.4 million Haitians will require humanitarian assistance in 2026.
Restoring some sense of security is particularly crucial at a time when the country is set to hold elections in August, the first since 2016.
Well, to talk a bit more then about the situation in Haiti, Rosa Freedman is with me on the programme. She's a professor of law, conflict and global development at the University of Reading, where Haiti is one of her countries of expertise. Hello to you and thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, if we look at the situation today in Haiti, we have the gangs controlling the vast majority of Port-au-Prince, perhaps more than when the Kenyan police arrived in 2024. There have been these allegations of rape, haven't there, against the Kenyans. It's important to say Kenya disputes that very strongly. But nonetheless, the police are pulling out. It's a profound failing, isn't it?
Yes, just as with pretty much every international intervention in Haiti, this has been a profound failure from the outset. The deployment was delayed. As you said in your report, there's not been enough funding or equipment. There weren't even as many troops deployed as initially were promised, I think. The Kenyan police, who had no idea about the language, the culture, or the context in Haiti, have failed across the board in terms of the mission that it set out to do. But this is a part of a long history of failed international interventions in Haiti. We talk about gangs, but this is not a homogeneous group of criminals. We're talking about layers of collusion and corruption. We're talking about senior leaders within the gangs who offer protection to those under their control. But that type of protection that the state has failed to offer for decades, if not hundreds of years. And we're talking then about sort of young people, lower levels, junior members of the gang who really need education and psychosocial support. But the only places that they can get any support from is these gang leaders. So until there is a proper way of addressing these structural issues and structural violence, any type of international intervention is just simply not going to work.
And we will talk in a moment about what may be ahead now for Haiti. But just first of all, on this Kenyan mission itself, as you say, it was underfunded, it was understaffed. Only about half of the people who were supposed to arrive did so. Was it doomed to fail from the beginning? Did the Kenyans have any chance of improving the situation?
Absolutely. From 2023, when this force was first approved, anyone and everyone who speaks about, let alone lives in or understands Haiti, knew that this was doomed to failure. There was even sort of attempts to block the deployment within the Kenyan judiciary because there was an understanding in Kenya that this was doomed to failure. And yet it forged ahead because the international community, and particularly the United Nations and particularly the United States of America, are desperate to avoid dealing with the root causes of violence within the country and the root causes of poverty, which are all to do with the fact that Haiti is the first country to throw off slavery, the first Black sovereign republic, and has been absolutely bullied and repressed by the international community as a result of that. After hundreds of years of this type of intervention, sending a few hundred troops from Kenya was a recipe for disaster.
And so you have no hope then, I assume, that these forces, I read, and potentially from Chad that will be coming in to replace the Kenyans, will be able to do anything different?
Well, this is the new gang suppression force, which is really a continuation of the Kenyan mission, which itself was a continuation of United Nations interventions. There are some slight differences. There's much more involvement of the Organization of American States, the OAS, alongside the United Nations, and there's obviously much more understanding from CARICOM countries of the situation in Haiti and the context within Haiti. There is also as you say, troops from Chad, potentially troops from Rwanda coming in. There was some hope that there would be troops from the region, but Panama, who actually proposed this new force, have said they're happy to train Haitian police, but they don't want to, in their words, to paraphrase, send Panama troops to Haiti to die. So little will have changed in terms of the mandate of this new gang suppression force. And it's really not going, as I said, to the root causes. There needs to be work with the Haitian judiciary to hold criminal prosecutions for senior leaders of gangs. There needs to be far more activity around education and psychosocial support for young and junior gang members. There needs to be far more police, Haitian police and maybe CARICOM police on the streets fighting against the violence. And then, of course, as always with Haiti, what there needs to be is development, and there needs to be funding, and in a way that makes sure that the political elite do not just simply take that money through corruption and take it out of the country, which is what we see happen time and again.
Just a final question for you. You've spoken about the racist legacy of how other countries have treated Haiti, first Black nation, as you say. You touched on the United States as well and how it's sort of shirking its responsibilities for Haiti. What do you think the US government should be doing now?
It's not only on the United States government, it's on all of the governments within the region. There are many countries like Bolivia and Venezuela who credit Haiti with their freedom. And when those countries have money and are in a situation which Cuba is not, where it's allowed to spend its own money, they very often pump money and resources, a range of resources into the country. But there is this group of friends of Haiti that Canada, the United States, Uruguay and others are part of. They need to step up, really looking at training and supporting Haitian police and the Haitian army, which has only been allowed to be back in existence in the last decade. They need to be supporting the political process, the elections that will be taking place. They need to be helping Haitians find Haitian solutions for Haitian problems, rather than these international interventions that are staffed by forces or by international actors from far away and outside of the region. And crucially, one of the key things that Haiti needs is to address and be able to remedy the sovereign debt that has left it in this dire financial situation, the sovereign debt that it paid back to France for very many decades.
All right, great to get your analysis. Thank you so much, Rosa Freedman, for us there.